Hello, everybody out there. Happy Monday. Welcome back to another episode of Sports Wrap Daily. I'm your host, Darrell Harris. Happy to be here with you on a Monday. Hope you all are feeling a little recharged. It's spring break, right? So y'all have just been waiting around all day for Sports Wrap, so I appreciate you. Now is the time. I'm here with Sports Director Chris Maathuis. Chris, how's it going, man?
It's doing great. Busy weekend with NASCAR in town. Of course, then you got Selection Sunday, all the brackets revealed on the men's and women's sides, and the NIT, and so just all kinds of cool stuff, and NBA talk. I mean, this show, you could actually do an hour of this.
Today we really certainly could. Yeah, and this is the first go-round of March Madness here on Sports Wrap Daily. We need your bracket, Chris, by Wednesday. Okay. All right, Wednesday we're going to do something special on here, and we got a special guest here. It is, on the heels of Selection Sunday. The bracket is out. It is time to go on the college basketball deep dive, and we're going to do that until another bombshell dropped on us this morning, East Coast time. We got the announcement of some NBA expansion. So we have a special guest for us today, originally to talk plenty of college basketball. He is our college hoops expert today, and his name is Rodney Knuppel. Rodney, welcome to Sports Wrap Daily, man. Let us know where you're joining us from and some of what you do.
Yeah, man, I'm here in central Illinois where it was 65 yesterday and it is 22 right now. And we had a tornado warning and now it's snowing. So, yeah.
Are you mentioning that because you saw what our forecast is?
I probably know what your forecast is. I don't even have to look. But anyways, yeah, I'm here to talk
about 98 or something on Thursday.
That's insane. That's insane. Every time I come out to Vegas, I am very hot. But yeah, thanks for having me. Love to talk college basketball and on a couple different places. So I'm excited to be here today.
Well, somebody said earlier we're 20 degrees ahead of schedule, and I thought that was well put. Let's jump right into this NBA expansion news, and I'll go ahead and just sort of read the announcement that we all saw this morning. Coming from Shams Charania, the NBA will hold a vote at the Board of Governors meeting March 24th and 25th to explore adding expansion teams exclusively in Las Vegas and Seattle. So other markets are off the table. That's what he's saying here. Targeted for 28-29. That got me that got the juices flowing when I read that. I said, that's here. Is almost what it felt like. There's momentum for stakeholders to approve surveying the industry. What they expect or project will be bids in the $7 to $10 billion range. We have one more still on this, but before, Chris, this has been a long time coming.
Yeah, an exciting time for Las Vegas. And really, when you come to Las Vegas, your franchise will increase exponentially. I mean, look at the Golden Knights. Bill Foley paid $500 million for the Vegas Golden Knights NHL team. It's already valued, I think, at $1.5 billion or something like that. So he's, raised or cleared a lot of money. Mark Davis with the Raiders, they came here, I think, at $4 billion or something like that. Now they're worth $6 billion.
And that's climbing.
How about the Aces? This is the crazy thing. According to Forbes, the Aces were bought for, was it $1 million? I believe it was.
Just a couple. It was just a couple of million.
A couple of million. Now it's valued at like $2 billion. So I mean, these franchises are just taking off. It's crazy. You look at the valuation here for an NBA team between 7 and 10. Might mention the Celtics went for 6.1, the Lakers for $10 billion, and recently the Trailblazers for $4.25 billion. So we're talking billions of dollars now if you want to get involved. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Now these Board of Governors will get together. You need 23 of the 30 to say, yep, let's do it. If they look at it and say, let's go forward, they look at the evaluations. Who's going to be your ownership group? What do you like about this group? What do you like about that group? Yeah, I think they have the money, the funds. Let's move forward. So possibly, my guess would be right around the NBA Summer League, the Board of Governors get together again during that Summer League in July. They say, yep, we're expanding. Vegas and Seattle are the two teams.
Yeah, no, we're coming to you next, Rodney, but let's take a look at this next one as well, because that's some of what they're doing. This first is going to be sort of two votes at this March get-together. The first vote allowing the league to explore purchase processes for Las Vegas and Seattle. Who's going to be involved. There will be a potential final vote later in the year, like you're saying, Chris, to finalize transactions to 32 teams. If the bids reach necessary threshold, both voting rounds, they need 23 of 30 votes in favor. Now, Rodney, do you anticipate, which I think this is really cool to get a perspective from somebody who's outside. You've got an NBA team, an NBA market in state. To get somebody from outside of Nevada, outside of Seattle and Washington to chime in on some of this? Is there a reason that an owner is going to vote against this?
I wouldn't see a reason why they would vote against it. I mean, expansion is a good thing. I think these two cities, while Seattle's shown that they can support an NBA team, and I've always said Vegas would be a great spot for the NBA, and I think you guys can attest to that. I mean, you've seen the numbers with the other organizations that have come there, and he brought up the point of how much money they've increased since then. So no, I can't imagine there would be any negativity. I'm trying to think about like location, why any of the other franchises would have a problem with it, and I don't see it. So I think this will pass with flying colors.
Yeah, that sounds good. That does then beg the question of who is going to be like. I think there's two questions stand out now that this has been the case. Is what group, what sort of figurehead, and this is video of them most recently in Las Vegas in December at the Cup. Which group, who is that person that comes here? And then Chris, where's the team going to play? With 28-29 being the target, that sure sounds like T-Mobile Arena.
Yeah, I think it would be T-Mobile Arena. They've talked about wanting to put some upgrades into that building, which is already, what is that building now? It must be
It's pushing 10
like
years
10,
old.
10, 11, 12 years old.
Yeah,
So
now a little more, right.
so it probably could use some upgrades, but it was built specifically for the NBA and for the NHL. Everybody probably thought the NBA, I certainly did. I've been here 30 years. I thought the NBA would be one of the first pro franchises to drop into Vegas,
Yeah.
but you had the NHL, of course, and the NBA or the NFL
Yeah.
and then WNBA, and now the A's coming here. So I would think it'd be at T-Mobile Arena. Then the ownership groups, recently Magic Johnson interested, Bill Foley, the owner of the
Mhm.
Knights. He also owns that Bournemouth club, the Premier Soccer League team. He's been mentioned that he'd like to get involved in this thing. And then Shaq and LeBron, both those guys have said, hey, I want to be involved. If it's coming to Vegas, I want to be involved. So, we'll see.
Yeah, no, and then on top of that, the domino effect, Rodney, is that they've got to balance these leagues out. The NBA does have a nice presence here. We're seeing some summer league vid, and then we're going to see, Chris, some other sites that were talked about in years to come. Just because, again, this has been a long time coming to sort of do this, but we now know what we expect to happen here. But they've got to realign these conferences, Rodney. And they've also mentioned that Shams further reported that Memphis and Minnesota are the two candidates to bump to the Eastern Conference to make things
Yeah.
even. How does that sound to you?
Yeah, no, I think that probably makes sense. That is the two most quote unquote Eastern. I mean, Memphis probably fits in the Eastern Conference anyway, to be quite honest with you. And really Minnesota as well. They could have they're not far from the Chicago, the Milwaukee. So those two would obviously be the maybe Denver, because I mean, it's not fully West, but I think the two that you mentioned would definitely be the right fits. And yeah, no, so then, and then you're talking if there's other cities coming in the next several years, how's that going to work out? How many
Yeah.
teams are we getting to over the next decade? Are we stopping with Seattle and Vegas, or are we expanding more? There's a lot of questions that I
Yeah.
have about this.
Chris, I know you remember some of those scenes because we've had these pump fakes sort of before, and I want to save some time for college, so we're about to have to transition. But no, you bring up a good point, Rodney, that there could be more of this in the rest of in the 2030s, in terms of growing this game. There's a lot of talent, there's a lot of players that can play. College is producing a ton of, league ready players to where if you open it up, we might be talking about a 35, hey, it all could happen. The same way they're bringing more teams to the WNBA. I did have a caveat. I had a really quick footnote. You see the WNBA deadline, Chris. I'm a broken record. You already know how this goes. And I don't have a substantial update for you again today, but the league said today was the day they needed for a deal to be done. And again, we're hearing that hope and progress as the key words. And I'm like, that doesn't do it.
No, I mean, when you think about it, you got to do an expansion draft, you got the new WNBA teams, you got to have just a regular draft, you got to get everything ready. I think it's just going to be interesting to see if they can meet this deadline, and will these preseason games be cut down? Will the regular season be pushed to later in the fall for the championships? They don't want to lap over the NFL and the NBA, but I mean, they may have to. Or do they shut it down? Or do they just shut it down and say, you know what, let's work on this and maybe we could do something next year?
I think they've ran out of time. So we'll see, because they could just say, hey, there will be no preseason, but they're going to end up punching this up so much that I don't know. Rodney, you got any WNBA thoughts? But I'm ready to talk college if you are.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of thoughts. I know the quote today was, again, from Kathy Engelbert, the commissioner, is they are working as quickly as possible. But you said it, they're not working quickly enough. Like this needs to get done, right? I mean, if you're gonna get all this stuff done, she mentions it's complex. There's a lot there. We know that, but you've had all this time. It's
Right.
it's time to get this
You
done.
don't
And
say.
and I think yeah, that's reflective to me on Kathy Engelbert, and her crew needs to get this done.
Echoed, echoed. Let's take a quick break and let's talk brackets because they're out. They're out. We got some
Yeah.
thoughts and opinions. So you're watching Sports Rap Daily. Welcome back, everybody. You're tuned into the Subaru Las Vegas Sports Rap Daily. My name is Darrell Harris. That is Chris Maathuis, and we are about to show you our brackets. But first, let's bring in our guest, Mr. Rodney Knuppel, joining us from the Midwest right now, talking college hoops. He does this, dare I say, respectfully, but religiously, he does this. So, Carlos, go ahead and show us some of these brackets. Chris, Rodney, let the games begin.
Hey, before we do that, let me ask Rodney a quick question here just about college basketball. There's been some talk of bringing the conference tournaments, Big 10 or Big 12, to Las Vegas. Do you hear anything? What's the latest you're hearing on that?
Well, Big 10 is coming to Las Vegas. Is it next? It's soon. The Big 10 is coming, I'm fairly sure.
Yeah.
I'd have to look up exacts on that, but the Big 10 has moved theirs around to a lot of different places, and I'm pretty sure Vegas is one of them. I'll look that up, and then I could definitely see the Big 12 coming out there as well.
And I got to figure, tell me if I'm wrong on this. If I lined up 100 people from the Big 12 and asked them, do you want to go to Kansas City or do you want to go to Las Vegas? I maintain that 95% would say, let's go to Vegas. What do you say?
Yeah, no, you're right. The entertainment value. But you got to keep in mind though, Big 12 basketball is pretty traditionalist, and they love the tradition of heading to Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City is a nice host for the Big 12 tournament, but you're right. You're 100%
I'm seeing 2028, possibly 27 as well. I'm gonna have to look a little bit more. But no, that's good. That's,
10,
that's a good tip there. And yeah, let's jump right into here, man. Overall thoughts on the bracket, Rodney. I will say that I was worried it would be a party of all these teams that already played each other, and I must say I'm pleased with the representation across the field.
Yeah, no, I think the committee did a really good job this year of getting the right 68 teams and really matching it up pretty well. When I first watched it, I thought, okay, the East region is loaded, and it was the first one shown. And I tried to sit back and think, okay, are these other regions as loaded? And it ended up being no, the East region is very loaded. There is some heavy hitters there. There's the Duke, there's the UConn, there's the Michigan State, there's the Kansas, there's the St. John's. I mean, you look at those programs, you look at their national champions, and that East region is absolutely loaded. And those teams are still pretty good this year as well.
Is there somebody that you think is maybe being a little overhyped? Is there somebody that you think that we should be wary of? I know Duke is battling some injuries at the moment. Alabama just took a blow with one of their guards today. That's news. And injuries are, Carolina, I can't really, and expect to take them to go far without Wilson. But any others that you just sort of saw the field and you're like, I'm kind of down on them, opposed to maybe consensus?
Yeah, I don't love Michigan State, and I know it. Everybody all the time says, "Oh, I can't bet against Izzo." Well, it's been 25 years since the Big Ten's won a national championship, right? And Michigan is one of the top teams this year, but literally 25 years since the Big Ten won a national championship. And I don't know. I looked at Michigan State, and I know they play a tough physical style, but North Dakota State's going to give them a game, and then honestly, Louisville, South Florida are going to give them quite a run in the second round. Not super high on Michigan State as a 3 seed.
How about the first four? You chime in as well, Chris, but I'm curious about your thoughts.
I was going to ask Rodney. Rodney, what do you think of that BYU possibly meeting Gonzaga in the second round? That's going to be kind of interesting. You got A.J. Debance, the big star for the Cougars. Gonzaga, who they played twice last year in the conference, or what was it, 2 years ago, I believe, in the conference when they were part of the WCC. Was that 3 years ago? Two teams that are familiar with one another, but they could possibly meet again in that second round.
Yeah, no, so this is the second year for BYU in the Big 12, and it's been a nice addition, especially with, Coach Young trying to get NBA talent in there, and that basically you ask Coach Young, and he wants to be an NBA factory, and AJ Debance is just a great player, and that's why you gotta be a little bit scared about playing BYU, that AJ may go for 40 and beat you. And so I think if you're Mark Few in that second round, you got to think of a plan to slow him down because he doesn't have, with the injury to Richie Saunders and a couple other, depth issues, he doesn't have a ton of help there in Provo, but he's a one-man wrecking crew. And I love Darren Peterson as a Kansas fan, and he's got all the issues with playing. But if I'm picking the number one pick right now, it's AJ Debance to me.
And we're seeing some more of for one, this freshman class, man, Pete isn't even in that conversation when they start talking draft from Arizona and Braden Berries. They don't necessarily mention him, talk about some of the guys the way they talk about Cam Boozer and AJ and Darren Peterson and some of the other rookies. But what a class, man. We let off with this BO with Darius Acuff, man. Is he gonna go on a Kemba Walker type of run? I want to get excited. Also, Calipari hasn't won a natty in 15 years now or so. What do you think of Darius Acuff?
It's been a while for Yeah, it's been I love the kid. I think he's a great player, and Arkansas showed that in the SEC. Now, one thing that kinda concerns me is when you see a team that is not dominant during the regular season. Arkansas was not dominant. Now, they did go on a run and won the SEC. You kinda see them come back to earth a little bit in the NCAA tournament, especially first, second round. Now, I'm not saying Hawaii's gonna beat them, but, they better play well or Hawaii will beat them. Second round, Wisconsin or High Point. High Point's got the longest winning streak in the country. So just something to keep an eye on. But Darius Acuff, really good player. And then another name I wanted to throw out there here locally, Keaton Wagler of Illinois. Been fantastic.
Yeah.
Kind of a under the radar recruit. Been great for Brad Underwood at Illinois.
What about Michigan?
Michigan's really good. Michigan's really good, and I don't think you can take their loss to Purdue yesterday as, necessarily a falter. Now they're banged up a little bit, and I think that's another thing you see with these conference tournaments. You play 3 games in 3 days. You have some guys that have some aches and pains. You get an injury or two. But Michigan's really good. They're the favorite in the Midwest. They got Iowa State, who will guard the crap out of them. I don't know if I
Coach
can say crap.
Otzelberger. Coach Otzelberger's been on a run over there, Chris. He's a former Rebels coach, Rodney. I was a manager under TJ, and it's sort of
nice.
Chris, I was thinking that this sort of makes sense that he took off really quick because I could see where some of the they weren't on track with each other, how he was moving, and maybe where a good opportunity came calling, and he's done a lot of good work with Iowa State this year as well.
What about SMU and Miami of Ohio? That team that they lost in the first round
Rodney,
of the
what do you
tournament. They
think?
get the big streak there. They deserve to be in or no?
They're going to get a quad 1 win.
Yeah, I'm good with the teams that got in. I think at that point, you're grasping for straws. Like nobody wants Auburn in, right? Like nobody wanted to hear Bruce Pearl, Stephen Pearl's team in. So we just, Miami, Ohio. Now, thing that you got to keep in mind there is Miami, Ohio is literally only going to go like an hour away for this game. It's a huge home court advantage to play from Oxford, Ohio to Dayton, Ohio, as opposed to SMU, the Mustangs. If I'm taking this game, I'm probably taking the Redhawks of Miami, Ohio, and that would be a fun story. Let's see how well they can do when they do get in with the big boys of the field of it'd be 64 once they get there. But that'll be a fun game on Wednesday.
Was it last year? I think only twice where you've had 4 number ones in the Final Four, right? Was it last year in like 2008 or something like that?
Yeah, that's rare.
Yeah, last year was one of them, and honestly, guys, it could very well happen again. Now, and I know that's easy to say because they're number 1 seeds for a reason, but you're seeing with the NIL, you're seeing the cream rise to the top. The best of the best are so much better than the other teams. Like you guys probably know this, being out there in Vegas. Like literally, the top 12 teams are double-digit favorites. That never happens in the NCAA tournament,
and that's what happens when
typically.
You got these programs that
Yeah,
can bring in that can just kind of throw their weight around and get
yeah,
and stockpile all the talent.
Well, they got the money to do it.
I do think that we're bound to
yeah.
get a good story or two. There's 4 or 5 HBCUs in here. We got Queens in their first bracket in here on top of Miami, Ohio. So I do think there's something waiting to be told here. And last one, Rodney, Ohio State. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State, they were a team that a month ago we were thinking, okay, Jake Diebler's not going to make the tournament and he's probably going to get fired. Now they had a run, they're an 8 seed, which in this tournament, an 8 seed is pretty good. It means you're ahead of a dozen teams or so. They get a TCU team, Brock Harding, the point guard there at TCU, Jamie Dixon, head coach. That's a solid team. Winner of that game is going to give Duke all they want in that second round because of the Duke injuries.
Yeah,
Probably would side obviously with Duke, but the Ohio State
don't be
TCU
surprised,
game's
huh?
a toss up to me.
I got you.
Hey,
All right,
Rodney,
yeah.
who's your dark horse? Who's gonna surprise a lot of people in this
you know,
tournament?
we didn't mention UConn, anything like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, UConn's gonna have to run up against Duke. I mean, before the news today, I really liked Alabama to possibly get to a Final Four. Now that news today really hurts them. That's
That
their
hurts 'em.
second leading scorer, but it's college basketball. He might end up playing, guys. Like we have no idea. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to speculate on. I mean this, but like I'm not ruling him out. I can tell you
I
that.
hear you. I hear you. Right. Due process. Hey, we got to take a break. We're going to talk some more, Rodney. It's fun having you here, Chris. I know you got some stuff to tend to as well.
Yes.
But we got a little bit of baseball on the docket. Let's take a quick break. Welcome back to Sports Wrap Daily. Let's finish this thing off with some baseball, right? I am here with Rodney Knuppel. Rodney, this thing is cool, man. Not only did we get the Winter Olympics this year, we're getting the World Cup in a couple of months. It's starting to kind of bubble already. Olympic season in the U.S. in 28 feels like it's already bubbling. But this World Baseball Classic now that the U.S. is really taking seriously, sending their guys down there, playing the best of the world right before MLB season opening day. This is good for baseball. What do you think about, what you've seen so
Yeah.
far and this Team USA sort of barely advancing to this knockout round, the semis?
Yeah, it's great for baseball, and it's so much better than spring training action. Now, don't get me wrong, guys need spring training, and there are players out there still in spring training that need it. But you're getting the best that are playing at a competitive level. As long as we don't get the injuries. Now we have seen some injuries. With Suzuki of the Cubs came away with an injury there, but injuries are going to happen. But yeah, I mean, we got a game tonight, and then the U.S. gets a chance to play for a championship tomorrow, so that's always fun.
Yeah, no, and possibly avenge a loss on the way, but they did manage to go 3-1. They had a real, exciting game, not with a whole lot of scoring, not with a lot of runs, but them in the DR, that was compelling stuff. Now that game was decided on a call at the plate, and they're not using the new technology that they're going to be using during the regular season. So that was one talking point. But I think that this is a great appetizer for the MLB season. It suckered me, and I don't recall tuning into these, passionately, but I was like, I've got to watch some of this.
Yeah, and they said not having the system for replay, was a bad thing or whatever. And I don't remember who said today that Pat McAfee, obviously we all know who Pat McAfee is, but he mentioned, hey man, that's just baseball. And if Pat McAfee is saying that about, a missed call or whatever, hey, that's baseball, then this WBC's made it because he's never really been a huge baseball advocate. So yeah, I think that's great. And you look at these teams that play, the teams that we could play tomorrow in the championship. I mean, this Venezuela team, Ronald Acuna, Luis Ariz, and Genio Suarez. I mean, these two teams have a bunch of dudes. It'll be a challenge tomorrow.
Yeah. You got any thoughts on the A's looking ahead to the regular season as well?
Well, they're certainly not going to be overly competitive, right? I
Mhm.
mean, it is what it is at this point for the A's until they get established and until they start, I guess, trying. But I'm excited for them to get their move underway here in the next couple years, whatever the final goal is. But they have a young roster once again. I think if they can compete with 80 to 82 wins, I think that's probably a success for the A's. But I'm not sure they can get to 80 this year. We'll see.
We'll see. All right. Y'all, don't worry. Rodney's going to be back here on Sports Wrap Daily. That's for sure. We're going to have some fun covering this tournament a little bit. And let them know where they can find you and keep in touch with you until then.
Yeah, I mean, I used Twitter pretty religiously at Knuppel, Knuppel, Rodney, Rodney. I do some work over at bustingbrackets.com, Athlon Sports, various other places, and I run a podcast Tuesday and Thursday night. Ironically, it's called The Stupidest Sports Show on Earth. We really aren't stupid, but we make it pretty stupid. We make it for the normal listeners. We try not to get too serious. So yes, stupidest sports show on earth, Tuesday and Thursday night, 9 p.m. Central Time.
There we go. Y'all get some sleep, all right? And don't go too hard on spring break. You got several days to go still, all right? We'll be back here tomorrow on Sports Wrap Daily. I'm Darrell Harris.